Mr. Som Mittal is the president of NASSCOM. He's joining in right now from Delhi. Mr. Mittal, good afternoon, sir. Thanks very much for talking to NDTV Profit and wishing you a very happy new year from the Profit team. We've seen this year starting off on a very positive note for equities, and in the later part of 2012 we saw a clutch of reforms coming in from the government. Do you think that all of that positivity and optimism is going to run off on the technology space as well, because we've seen low growth commentary coming in from a clutch of IT companies of late?
Well, thank you, and wish you all a happy new year as well, and I think it's been a good beginning. I would think that 2013 should be a positive year and surely better than what 2012 was. I think the fundamentals of all our companies and the industry is very strong. The value that we add continues to be high, and most of the companies, I think, during this last 3 to 4 year period have restructured their business, have honed their business models, have very focused offerings and verticals and the territories that they operate in. So I think they are much better equipped now to handle the opportunities that are ahead. And I think it's important to see where these opportunities are. I would say the worst is behind us with the US elections now over. I think the focus for US, which is our largest territory, is to be on economic growth, getting the jobs back. And I think that would mean more and more investments that will come into IT for us. Surely there are uncertainties still around, but I think the overall environment should be very positive.
Mr. Mittal, this is a two-part question. Give us a sense of the standout trends that emerged in the later part of 2012 and that you see continuing in the coming year. And also a sense, when you spoke about that, the fact that the worst is behind us, there must be still some challenges that you're wary of.
Well, I think, let me start from the second part of the question. I think there are challenges, and those challenges are about how corporations look at the uncertainty around. But then at the same time, these very companies are looking at transformation and technology and business process changes that they require are at the core of things. So areas like social media, mobility, analytics, cloud, are clearly areas which we think would be driving business. And similarly, verticals like healthcare, insurance should be seeing very positive movement for us. So to the point that you mentioned, I think it's the general feeling of uncertainty, and hence people tend not to take decisions, are the areas that we would be concerned about. But on the other hand, as I said, 2012 had so many changes that were around, elections all across the world and many other shifts that were happening. That having gone behind us, and even in Europe, if you look, which was the largest area of uncertainty, actually our growth last year was higher in Europe than it was in the US, which also clearly shows that the customers in Europe are looking at further leveraging technology and using the global sourcing model that they were a little behind on in the past.
Which would mean, Mr. Mittal, that the possibility of organic revenue guidance cut is high?
Well, we are going to wait for the results of the Q3 to come out, which are just a week or 2 weeks away, and I think then take a call. But in fiscal year 2013, we expect a growth in double digits. It was probably on the lower side of our guidance of 11 to 14, but we don't have a number yet for the fiscal year 14. But I think the industry and the companies are much better prepared to make use of the opportunities that are ahead. I must also mention that in the last few years, there has been a significant diversification that's taken place in terms of addressing new verticals and also entering new territories, and I think we've seen that shift happen. In the last year, while the January quarter was particularly low, and then I think steadily we have seen growth coming back. So we do hope that that trend will continue now.
Mr. Mittal, so can you deduce that pricing, client spending, even discretionary spending, all of that slow decision making, that's going to slowly now fade away?
So, I think the pricing is stable. If you look at the currency, it's operating, it's also stable, operates within a very narrow, small band. We would surely expect that this year's budget would provide for far more stability in tax policy. I think that's been a concern where, the industry has been involved in prolonged litigation on many of the tax issues, and we hope that will be behind us. So I think all these factors would indicate that, plus the changes that the companies have made in terms of their own focus, should augur well. There are the spends are more careful. I think there are no longer very large projects that companies do take place that invest in. I think there are going to be many more smaller projects. There are large outsourcing deals which are more as comprehensive deals where either they're coming to an end and hence they're out for rebid, and in each one of these cases it generally helps India because there is a lot of vendor consolidation that happens, and that generally augurs well for countries like India, which are today at about 56-57% of the market share of the global outsourcing.
Right. Mr. Mittal, just a brief last word on, I know you did say that you don't obviously have a number or a guidance for the fiscal year 14, but a sense of at NASSCOM how you think this entire coming few months are going to fare, particularly the domestic market and also the export market.
Given the subdued GDP growth, etc., I think the domestic market, particularly at the hardware side, has been a little slow. And also consumer spending comes down. But on the other hand, I think government's own spending in IT and leveraging technology for most of its social programs, I think is going to get accelerated, and that should augur quite well for the industry.
Okay, Mr. Mittal, thank you very much for that perspective. So we've got a sense of what 2013 might look like for the tech space. We're going to be looking at analytics, mobility, cloud, all of them being the buzzwords in the coming year. Thank you very much for your time, and once again wish you a very happy new year.
Yeah,
from the tech space.
And I hope it will continue for the rest of the year as well. All the best.
Indeed, indeed. Thanks very much, Mr. Mittal.